Okay, in this video I'm going to be working on a fictional large coal route that I'm making for the Trainz simulation series. Let me see. Oh man, it's taking a while. Okay. Didn't take as long as I thought it was going to take. That's good. Oh yeah, I remember Trainz 2004. That was actually the first Trainz simulation series I ever bought. I remember it had some really weird physics in it, like if you derailed on the edge of the earth, the train would hover above the ground for a few seconds, and then it would plop down onto the ground and then the bogies would be bent. Okay, let's see. Where is that route? Here it is. Edit route. Oh yeah, Trainz 2004 probably had the most realistic derailment physics of all the other games. Where do steel coil trains go? Well, one place they go is at an aluminum foil factory, I believe. Actually, no, I think aluminum foil is made from steel ingots, not steel coils. But they usually go to factories that that unroll the steel coils in order to make machine parts that have that are made of flat pieces of steel. So yeah, this is a section of the route that I haven't quite finished yet. Basically, the train's going to go from island to island, and every time it crosses over to the next island, it will be slightly higher above sea level until it's up to a mile above sea level, and then it'll slowly drop back down on its way towards the power station. And here is one of the bridges that links one of the two of the islands. Of course, I haven't built the water yet. I usually wait till last to build the water because it slows down the game a lot while I'm working on the scenery. So I usually wait till last to install that. Here's a railroad crossing I haven't quite built yet. By the way, this is a repaint I did to a road. It was road asphalt 4-lane dual yellow stripe, because for some reason the original textures you can barely see the white lines on Trainz 2019, so I repainted it to make it a little darker. So yeah, here are the tracks slowly descending downhill. Here's another railroad crossing I haven't quite finished yet. Oh, and here's a lighthouse. This is actually the Cape Lookout Lighthouse in North Carolina. But I converted it to a mesh that can be used in the game. I don't remember if I've uploaded it to the download station yet. Oh yeah, I think that bridge actually was from Scotland. I can't remember the name of it though. Okay. Here we have a 3-track main line. And another bridge that links two of the islands together. This one's also a toll bridge. Yeah, it's never a good idea to play on railroad tracks. I actually caught a man on film. He was standing right in the middle of the tracks while the train was approaching the crossing, and I actually had to tell him, "Excuse me, you shouldn't be standing on the tracks. There's a train coming." And there were even people on the road blowing the horn at him, and he wasn't listening to them. He did listen when I told him to leave, though. Oh yeah, my day is actually going pretty well right now. Thanks for asking. Okay, let's see. This is a railroad crossing I built. It crosses a four-way intersection. Why is that car stopped in the middle of the intersection? That's weird. Alright, let's test it to see if it works. I haven't used the 840Bs in a long time. TGV operate on this route. I gotta make sure the tracks are fast enough to allow that, or at the very least allow the minimum speed the train operates at. Now this island is basically a pretty rural island. There's a bunch of small towns here and a few industries, and of course there's a carnival. Now, in the original version of this route, I actually had it set up so that a hurricane just struck the island, and as a result, the entire carnival was destroyed by it. But I'm not sure how YouTube's monetization system would handle that kind of thing, so I changed it, and now it's perfectly fine. It has not been destroyed by a flood. It's perfectly safe. Gotta be careful with that monetization, after all. Here we have some power utility wires that stretch out to these residential lines and then connect to some of the houses. And of course, here's the coal tipple where the coal trains are loaded. Now, I'm gonna try to work on the train yard for a little bit. What in the world is this? Is that the edge of the texture or something? That's weird. Yeah, this game lags an awful lot on my computer. Hopefully when I save up enough money to get a new computer, it won't lag as much. Okay. First, I'm going to build the yard where the trains carrying coal will wait while, will basically wait their turn to be loaded. I plan on having a lot of coal trains operating on this route. Look, just like in my original version. Okay, let me move this portal out of the way. I still need it for now because it's still producing trains. Okay. Yeah, I still sort of hate the portals because They don't always work correctly. There are some train cars that derail when coming out of the portal, and there doesn't appear to be a specific pattern to it. Like, for example, let me show you something. Where are those cars? Sometimes these train cars will derail when coming out of the portal, but other times they don't. And they especially derail when they're attached to the spine cars, like these ones. These derail often when coming out of the portal, but not always. Usually only when attached to a different type of train car, and I'm still not sure why that is. Sometimes trains derail and then it just gets rid of the driver, so the train just travels very slowly throughout the entire route until it goes into another portal, and that's pretty annoying. I can never get the TGV duplex to come out of the portal without derailing. B36-7. I don't think I have any of those. Let me see. Dash 7. Do I have any of those? Ah, looks like I don't. Yeah, they really should work on an update for these portals so that they work properly. Especially fixing the errors where the trains derail when coming out of them, or the issues where they sometimes produce the same train multiple times. And then I even have issues where they just randomly decide not to produce any trains anymore, and I have to restart the route to get them to work again. What's this? Oh, this is a 4-track of just the wooden ones. I have to be careful which one of these types of tracks I use, because some of them really slow down the game. In fact, where is that one? This one specifically, if you put enough of these on the track, it'll really lag the game up. That's why I don't use them that much. Okay, this is going to be the first siding track. Oh yeah, I've had issues with the portals not accepting trains too. Sometimes the train will stop right in front of the portal and then not go into it. And then if you try to manually make it go into the portal, it derails, which is really annoying. Oh, what in the world did it just do? That's weird. Don't know why it did that. Okay, let's see. I'm not sure how many tracks I want for this yard yet, so I'll start with like 6 siding tracks for the coal trains, and a few others for the other trains, because I have a different track run by an entirely different railroad that does other types of goods other than coal. Each siding has to be long enough for the longest coal train I have to fit in it. I can't put the trains on the track just yet because they might slow the game down. even when I was using a CPU, the game would lag a little bit if the camera faced the train yard. I really do miss running this game on a CPU because it didn't lag anywhere near as often. It's actually better to run this game on a CPU than on a laptop. Even the most powerful laptops, they struggle to run this game. I had one route that only had a railroad crossing and some trees as the scenery, and that one still lagged. 200 wagons. I think my longest coal train is like maybe 150 cars. I usually don't make them too long because I'm worried if they become too long, it'll slow down the game and the computer might crash. However, eventually when I get a better computer, I might be able to make a much larger one. I think I actually do have one that has 200 cars and then a locomotive pushing on the end. 1, 2, that's 4 sidings so far. Oh, that's a good idea. I actually am working on a route as well that's based on the area where I live in Bath, Pennsylvania. I haven't worked on it in a long time though. I was planning on extending it to Nazareth if I get a chance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this is going to be the last siding track. I don't remember how large my original train yard was in the original version of this route. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't think I ever ran this route on a CPU. I think it was always on a laptop. The original laptop I had was actually a little bit faster, but that one was running Trainz 12, and Trainz 12 isn't exactly as taxing on a laptop as Trainz 2019 is. Running these reflective textures like the ones here, and that takes a lot of processing power. Okay, the switch stands. Wow, these rails actually have some really good reflective textures. I once made a train that was 5 miles long and attached it to the big boy, but when going up the hill, the couplers broke and 4/5 of the train rolled down the hill and crashed into another one. Still a little bit confused with how that happened because the real big boy actually can pull a train 5 miles long, and since people are aware of that fact, that it must have done that at some time without having that issue of the couplers breaking. Okay, this is the siding for the coal route. There's also going to be a passenger station somewhere within this train yard, probably on the west end of the yard. Let's see, on my original version of the route, I had like concrete walls. Let's see, where are they? Concrete. Yeah, something like that. Which one was it though? Yeah, something like this. And I had these placed in front of the tracks to protect them from potential flooding during hurricanes. Because as it was supposed to be, these groups of islands were supposed to have really stormy weather in them. Okay, anyway, why does it keep clicking on stuff randomly? Okay, so these two tracks are actually going to be electrified. They're going to have electric trains running on them, as well as steam and diesel trains. First, let me move these two portals out of the way. The portals are only temporary. In the final version of the route, I'm probably going to have it set up so that there's just a group of trains and they're going to be running on constant repeat. The portals are only temporary to put the trains on the track until I finish with that. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people racing the train to the crossing. I actually once saw a truck driver. He was trying to look up directions to his destination on the phone, and he stopped on the railroad crossing while looking up the directions. Luckily, he did get out of the way when the crossing activated, but man, that was dangerous. They always told us never to be on the cell phone while behind the wheel, and if we absolutely needed the phone for something, we had to pull over in a safe location first. A railroad crossing is not a safe place to park. What's this? Okay, now for the, let's see. These tracks are going to be for the electrified line. I'm not really sure how many tracks to give it just yet, because I'm not quite sure exactly how many trains I want running on this route. I'll probably start with maybe a 10-track yard, 5 tracks for one direction and 5 for the other. Oops, what in the world are you doing? These tracks have to be separated from the tracks for the coal route so that there's plenty of space to put the poles that have to support the catenary lines. Man, this computer is getting really hot right now from all this the stuff that it has to process. Oh man, it's starting to slow down. I'm going to save it real quick just in case it tries to go out on me. Because it's really having a hard time right now. Yeah, I really don't like quiet zones at railroad crossings. I don't think it's safe at all to not have the train blowing the horn. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this is supposed to be a tropical island, or a tropical island. Okay, I guess I'll work on this intersection now. I haven't yet decided how wide I want to make the island yet. The original wasn't really that wide. It was only like 4 blocks wide. And then after that it slowly descended towards the ocean. In any case, and this highway actually leads to the train station as well as the parking lot for the employees for the train yard. I'm also going to make it so that you can drive a bus on this route and tour the area. I always try to make my routes explorable in any kind of way. Let's see, let me make a traffic light for this intersection. A lot of people have been asking me how I make the traffic lights that hang on wires, so I'm gonna do one of those real quick. Okay, let's see. This is what I usually use to support the wires. It's called USA Steel Coil. I think it was on the download station, but I don't remember. Oh man, the game is really lagging right now. Okay. I have to do things very slowly just to make sure I won't have to process something too quickly. Usually, having to suddenly process something is what causes the game to close out on me, because the computer wasn't fast enough to keep up with what I was trying to do. Okay, I need a traffic controller. For intersections where two divided highways have to cross each other, I usually make it so that each direction is its own route, so that I can program a left turn arrow. Oh yeah, the 844. Let's see. Can't remember where I found these locomotives from. I did download them from a website. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Was it from this website? Can't really remember. Oh, these aren't the FEF locomotives, are they? Oh wow, these are compatible with Trainz SP3 and Trainz 2019. Oh, here's some. I think these are, yeah, these are some FEF, so this website does have some. Alright, so I guess you can get them from here. The ones I got were from a different website though. Let me see if I can find it. It's really hard finding these websites sometimes. That's why I wish they would just upload them to the download station. I mean, even if the purpose is to make money off them, you can still upload them to the Trainz store, if I remember correctly. I can't remember the website that I downloaded the other version of the FEF from, but there are some available from Trainz Forge if you're looking for those. The ones I have are pretty cool. The only problem is the coupler by default is retracted into the cow catcher, so if you want to run double header, you actually have to manually get the coupler out. How do you do that again? Oh yeah, here we go. This is how you extract the coupler. The problem is, I don't think there's a way to do that when the train is coming out of the portal. So if you have a double header and it's coming out of the portal, there's no way to make it look like they're connected to each other. And that's the only thing I don't like about those locomotives. Anyway, back to the traffic light. Okay, where are the wires that I normally use to support the traffic lights? Okay. These wires are in the download station, and you can find them by searching ALEP. I think these wires are Russian, but a lot of them do still look a lot like the ones that are used in the United States. Okay, here we go. ALEP. Wires 100 meters. I think I usually use the 1.5. The numbers on the end of these titles actually tell you how far the wires sag for the 1.5, that means it'll sag 1.5 meters. And you have to make sure you're correcting for that when you lift the wires out so that the cars can fit under the traffic lights. Sometimes that takes a little trial and error. A lot of times what you can do is just place the truck on the road and make sure it'll fit under it. This takes a little bit of trial and error, and it's very tedious, which is why I don't always use the wire hanging method. However, this method is common in any rural area, so it's still important to know how to do this if you wanted to. It's also very common in Pennsylvania, except in the cities, because for some strange reason, the cities think that having power wires hanging everywhere and looks ugly, so they try to replace a lot of these with the ones that hang on poles in the city area. But the rural areas in Pennsylvania, at least, and a lot of the southern areas still use these. Do I have any Conrail locomotives? I think I do. Let me see. Let me go really far away from the scenery before placing this train on the track before the game crashes. Yeah, let me go where I don't have much scenery up. Okay, here should be fine. Just wait for the tracks to load up. First, let me save it. Okay, so let's search for Conrail. Alright, let's start at the top of the list. Where I should have some. I remember downloading some. Well, I have an 8-40B. Now, when you download a lot of these 840Bs, they come with an EMD engine sound, which is really weird because they're General Electric locomotives. So they should have a General Electric engine sound. Let's see. Oh, I have a C30-7A. I don't remember downloading this. It looks like it came from Jointed Rail. Okay, let's see. I have a GP38-2. GP40. What's going on? Oh, great. Having some internet issues right now. I'm not quite sure what's causing it. That's weird. Yeah, I don't know why. Sometimes the live stream does get a little slow. I'm not quite sure what's causing that. What is going on right now? Oh yeah, I also have an SD40-2A. Okay, well, at least it's not in the red, but I don't know why it looks so pixelated like that. Yeah, I'm still a little new to the live streaming thing, so, oh great, it's buffering again. Why does it keep doing that? It could be it could be an issue I have on the computer because it's really slow right now. It's probably not processing it fast enough. Mm. Okay, anyway, for the traffic lights. It's saying I got a full Wi-Fi signal. And it's not saying I have any issues with it. I'm not sure what's causing that. Oh yeah, my computer doesn't like steam locomotives either. In fact, all of the locomotives that I've downloaded from KL Trainz, they look really detailed, but the smoke always lags the computer. Let's see. Okay, so these are the type of traffic lights I usually use for the wires. Oh yeah, I haven't started work on the traffic control yet. You have to be really careful when programming the traffic controller. If you do it too quickly, it might freeze the game. Make sure you give the game a chance to catch up with what you're doing. Try exiting out of the game real quick, seeing if there's something I can do to speed this thing up, because it still seems to be lagging a little bit. Let me see. Let's see. Let me try going to control panel. Man, the computer is really hot right now. That might be another issue I'm having. Okay, where is... Actually, no, I think that's the wrong thing. Where is the thing? Oh yeah, now I remember. It was called Task Manager. Okay, now... Let's see if there's anything... Let's see. Set priority to high. Maybe setting the priority to a higher level might make it run a little faster. Sometimes it does work. I've also read that you should never set the priority to real time or it'll lag the computer. Apparently only the mouse and the keyboard should be set to real time. Okay, here's OBS. Set priority to high. Maybe that'll help too. I don't know what all this other stuff is. I wish I knew which one of these I could end in order to speed up the computer. That's one thing I have always hated about computers. They always install a bunch of programs on it that you probably won't even need or use, and then they make it so that you can't remove them. Like, why? Would it not make sense to make a computer that only has the stuff that you want to install on it, and anything that you don't want can just simply remove them? You can just simply remove them. I've always hated how these companies feel that they have to install this stuff on the computer, even if you're not going to use them. Okay, the game is running a little bit more smoothly. Okay, and the live stream seems to be a lot less laggy, so that probably did do the trick. Okay, I'm gonna finish setting up these traffic lights. Now, I've had some issues with the traffic slaves in Trainz 2019 where they sometimes don't work, and then I have to reset the route after that, which is really annoying. Okay, now you have to lift the lights up to the wires. This usually takes a little bit of trial and error. Now, where I live, sometimes there'll also be a wire underneath the traffic lights to help stabilize them. But these traffic lights don't have a bottom mount, so you don't really have to worry about a bottom wire to attach them to. And they can just hang off of the wire that's on the top. Now, in real life, traffic lights don't hang from power wires, they hang from steel cables. And a regular power line would not be strong enough to support the traffic lights. They weigh between 30 and 70 pounds each. Imagine trying to support that with just a regular power utility wire. Now, they're actually supported by steel cables. And then the power wire is wrapped around the steel cable in order to attach to the lights. These cables are actually pretty strong. I once saw a video of one in a hurricane, and despite how strong the winds were, the cables were still perfect and were still properly attached to the traffic lights. It did fail at a certain point, but it really did do a good job standing up to the wind. It probably did a better job than the power utility wires did. You probably don't have to be too accurate because you probably, from a distance, you won't even really notice if they're attached to the wires or not. Now, where I live, there's usually 1 to 2 lights over each individual lane. I'm guessing Pennsylvania has a really high budget for traffic lights. In New Jersey, they usually have 1 to 2 lights over each lane, and they also put lights over the left side of the road too. They probably have way too high a traffic light budget. Some states like Massachusetts only have 1 light per direction. I'm guessing they don't have too high a budget. So anyway, this is going to be channel. What was the channel? I forgot. Route 5. Ugh, it's still slowing down. I'm going to give this one a left arrow. Okay, for the traffic stoppers, I usually use one of these. The length doesn't really matter. It depends on how long the intersection is. Let's see, 40-meter one might work for this one. Yeah, that's about the right size. I usually attach the road to it on a one-way street prior to make sure that it's facing the right way. Because if it isn't facing the right way, at least on an older version of the game, it would spawn traffic in the wrong direction. Now I think they do have that fixed where it'll only spawn traffic in the direction that it's already going. But just to be on the safe side, I'll make sure it's facing the right way first. That's interesting. I don't think they have bike signals in this game yet. However, you could probably make one just by making a texture for the bike signal and then creating another light that's scripted like these. Or you could just probably clone one of these and then reskin the texture so that instead of a regular light, it'll display the bike signal. I might try that eventually. As well as a walk signal. This game could really use walk signals for these lights. I don't know why no one's made those yet. We could really use some walk signals. This traffic stopper has 3 separate invisible roads that you can attach a road to. So these are really good when you have multiple one-lane streets. One-way streets. Okay, now to make the car stop, you'll need a traffic slave. Now, I've had issues with these slaves where they occasionally stop working after the first activation, and then I had to reset the game just to get them to work again. These ones that are under the category of track object don't give me as much trouble, but they also occasionally stop working after the first activation. And for the life of me, I can't figure out why that is. I have tried asking online on Trainz discussion forums, but I haven't really gotten anywhere with that quite yet. Oh yeah, these traffic lights need a power source. In the world. Let's see. One of these should be fine. Now I need a control box. And this one ought to work. Now I just need to run a wire from this to here. Okay, that's going to be the source of the traffic light's electricity. Now, if you are going to be this accurate when building these utility wires, make sure you never attach a wire to the one that's on top, because that's a ground wire. It's used specifically for protecting the power utility wires from lightning strikes. The idea is a lightning strike will hit the wire that's on top and then safely travel to the ground without interrupting the flow of current on the power lines. So yeah, never attach a wire to the top ones because they don't carry a current. They're just the ground wires. Man, these traffic light intersections take so long to build. Okay, so this is going to be Route 2. Man, this game lags a lot when you try to edit these things. That truck was driving backwards for a few seconds. That's weird. Yes, I actually am making my own map for this game. This one is a fictional route that's from scratch. It's not based on any actual route. Well, except for a route that I made several years ago that sadly I accidentally deleted. This one's actually a lot better than that one though. Okay, only 2 more routes to go and this intersection will be mostly finished. It's facing the correct way. This one is going to be Route 3. Now I just need to add the traffic lights. These lights can hang over the same wire. It is strong enough to do that. In some areas, each direction would have its own wire the lights are hanging off of though. But in this case, it's fine. The only problem is the way these wires are angled. If you're on this lane, the lights will be very close to you and you might not even be able to see them. But you could look at the one that's next to you to determine whether it's safe, since they're all on the same route. So that's not really much of a problem. What in the world? That car was driving sideways. Man, I wish there was a way to expedite this process. This takes a really long time. What in the world? Oops, I accidentally moved that traffic stopper. Sometimes Control Z can be your best friend in this game. It'll undo the last thing you did. Oh yeah, I forgot to make this one a left arrow. Okay, now I'm gonna save it real quick so it won't shut down on me, causing me to lose a lot of saved data. Okay, now everything's saved. I only have one more route to work on for this track. Right now, oh yeah, in case you're wondering, I forgot to mention, in case you're wondering what sidewalk I'm using, it's called Walk 8-Foot Concrete. I don't remember if it's on the download station or not. Probably is. What in the world? So this one should be 180. Come on now, 180. There we go. Oh man, I just realized how bent up these wires were. That doesn't look very realistic at all. Let me see if there's something I can do about that. In real life, power wires usually don't bend like this. The companies try to keep them as straight as possible because it's more efficient that way. So yeah, I gotta do something about that curved section. But that's for another time. Why does game lag so much when you try to edit the traffic lights? I don't remember it doing that in Trainz 2012. Anyway, all I need is 4 more games. Just making sure that it wasn't missing from somewhere else. Okay, save it a little bit. Okay, it's saved. Let's see. Oh, careful. Sometimes on this specific route, if I move the camera too quickly, the game might shut off, so I have to be really careful about that. Ugh. Building a switch really makes the game lag. Because every time I move the track a few inches, it reloads the switch, and that slows the game down. These are actually some of my favorite locomotives in the game. These are SD70s that you can actually start up and shut down. Apparently in older versions of the game, there were buttons you could press to start up and shut down the locomotive. I was never aware of this, and somehow, despite pressing every button on my keyboard, I never managed to find it. I think they stopped doing that on Trainz 2006, but they used to have it on Trainz 2004. Yeah, if you'll probably notice that if you derail on Trainz 2004, the engine will slowly go down through the notches, and then it'll actually shut down, which is pretty interesting. I always wondered why that was. Anyway, there used to be a website called World of Trainz where you could download these locomotives. I think they were like $5 to $10 each. But sadly, that website closed down. And there are only 3 SD70s left, which are on the download station. These are the last ones you can download that were from that website. I actually had like, I think $30 worth of locomotives from that website. But since I forgot to back up the data, I eventually lost them, and there's no way for me to get them back at all, it would seem. They were like, I think they were an SD70 ACE, a C44-9W, an SD40-2, and a few others from the CSX Railroad. It's a shame too, because I really liked using those locomotives. For a while, they were the only ones that I used. I wish I had remembered to back them up. Anyway. Let's see. There don't seem to be a lot of tracks in this game that allow you to make animated junctions, sadly. I would like to see a lot more variety, so I won't have to keep using the same ones over and over again. Not that I don't like these, they're actually pretty good tracks. What is this? Can you make junctions out of these? Looks like you can't. Oh, that's sad. Oh, there are some Trainz 2019 tracks. Oh, these ones actually look pretty nice. Can you make junctions out of these? Oh, it looks like you can. I think I'll use these for now on, at least for this route. One, two, three, four. One more track for this direction. You actually can attach different types of tracks together that have animated junctions. It'll automatically modify the mesh of one of the tracks to match the other one in the areas where they're connected, which is pretty interesting. It even matches the ties. Deal. Yeah, I actually really do like the SD60Es. I use them a lot of my Norfolk Southern conceits. I actually see a lot of these when I go rail fanning in the Allentown, Pennsylvania area. There was a time where I saw this one, but I only saw it once. Oh yeah, I also saw an ES44AC from the Monongahela Railroad, which was one of the Norfolk Southern Heritage locomotives, when I was in Emmaus, Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. 16. I wonder if you can make double slip switches out of these. Let's see. Oops. That's weird. The ballast disappeared in that section. Let's see what happens if you try to create a double slip switch. Did it connect correctly? Oh, it actually did create switch points. What about for this one? Oh, it created some for this one too. Alright, so it can create double slip switches. The center does look a little bit weird though, because there aren't any frogs in the middle. But it does have its limitations. Yeah, the heritage locomotives are hard to find. Most of the time, it's based on luck whether or not I found them. I did find an app on the Google App Store where they basically track the heritage units and alert you when one's going to be in your area. But I read the complaints. I read the reviews on it, and they said that a lot of times it's not always up to date because it depends on someone actually seeing the locomotive and reporting that it was in that area. So there might be times where no one saw it, and as a result, it won't get reported. But, you know. Let's see. 3-bay hoppers. Let's see, which ones do I have? I have a lot of them. Let's see. 3-bay open hopper CSX. I don't think I've ever used this one, mainly because of the textures for the coal and the fact that it doesn't have any air hoses. I try to refrain from using train cars that don't have a visible air hose on them. Let's see. 4-bay Canadian hopper. Man, look at that coupler. I don't actually. I probably have used this one recently. Let's see, 54-foot hopper. Man, none of these have any air hoses. Yeah, well. They were probably made before people were regularly making these. Oh, this one has air hoses. 59-foot covered hopper, 4-bay, Canadian National. Oh, and they actually look like they're connected to each other. You know, I wish someone would come up with some kind of standard for making air hoses so that all types of train cars can be coupled together. Because if you connect two train cars with air hoses that were created by the same person, they'll look just fine when you couple them. But if you connect a train car that was made from one person with a train car made from someone else, like let me use the CSX one for example, that was created by Jointed Rail. Actually, this one looks just fine, but sometimes it won't look like it's connected correctly. Let's see, do I have another one with an air hose? Yeah, like this one. This one has an air hose too, but they're not connected because they're a different shape. So yeah, I wish someone would come up with some kind of standard so that you could connect all of them together without any issues. because it does force me to have to use only the same types of train cars from the same people in most cases. Oh yeah, I have these TILX hopper cars. And some Norfolk Southern ones. Yeah, I haven't seen an Amtrak Dash 8 before, but I live in the Northeast and a lot of the trains that go through here are electric anyway, so it would be rare for me to see one. Okay, it's getting late, so I have to go, but before I do that, I want to show you something real quick. Let me see if I can find it. I want to show you the CSX yard that oh man, the internet is it still says it's slow on this, even though it doesn't really look like it's lagging here. Anyway, I want to show you the CSX train yard that I almost got a job at one time. I don't know if I can remember where it's located. I remember that it was in Massachusetts though. So maybe if I search CSX Massachusetts, I can find it. Let's see. That's not it. Oh, this is the one in Worcester, Massachusetts. Let's see. Can I zoom in on it? Oh, this is the one. So yeah, I'm gonna tell you a quick story about this. Basically, I went to the CSX website and I was looking for, well, basically seeing if they had any jobs, and then I happened to see this one that was in Worcester, Massachusetts. It was for a yard worker, and I did meet the qualifications. I had a commercial driver's license and all that stuff, so I decided to apply. I actually did get an interview, so I scheduled it and basically I tried to make sure I had plenty of time to get there because I know from experience driving trucks in this area that traffic can be pretty unpredictable. Like, let me show you how far it is from where I live. Hold on, let me. Okay, it's like well, it says it's 5 hours away, but that's a blatant lie. It's actually 8 hours away, and that's in good traffic. I was actually when I crossed the border into Connecticut, there was a car accident, and it delayed me so much that it actually said that I was going to get there with barely enough time to spare, which I was starting to worry about. My interview was supposed to be at like 1:30 in the afternoon. I left at 5 o'clock to make sure I'd get there in time, but it was still saying that I would get there at 1:15. And I try to be at job interviews at least an hour early, so I was getting a little bit panicked when it said it was gonna take me that long to get there. However, luckily at the last minute the accident cleared, and I wasn't delayed at all, and I actually arrived with at least an hour and a half to spare. But man, that was a very long journey. I later found out that I could have made the exact same journey by bus, and I'm like, okay, well next time I'm gonna just take the bus because that's driving for 5 straight hours in the type of traffic that they have in this area is pretty stressful. So anyway, that's all the time I have today. So thank you for watching my live stream and goodbye.